Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the people's channel, home of the Bit Squad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all of the interwebs. My name is Frankie Candles, and I'm going to be your host today for Around the Blockchain. Guys, we have an awesome show for you tonight, and we have four awesome guests, and we got three pretty good topics to talk about today. We're going to be talking about BTC pressure to the downside due to that job report that we got out this morning. We're talking about BNB's hack last night. I found out about this on my live stream while I was live. Checked the chart, saw those red candles to the downside. Yikes. We're going to be talking about that. And then we're talking about Celsius doxing its users. And among those users, guys, they doxed some pretty important people at the company, revealing some very, very interesting information. But guys, in the top left, we've got our resident writer here at BitBoy Crypto, AJ Pleasanton. What is going on? Thanks for being here, bro. We appreciate you. In the top right, we have the one, the only Cryptostache. What is going on? Thank you for being here. And then in the bottom left, we have, there he is, Piano Matty B. You know that famous jingle. Piano Matty B, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Love the backdrop, by the way. Feeling very fall.
Thank you.
And then last, but certainly not least, guys, we've got Crypto Keeper. You guys know him. We love him. Thank you for being here, Keeper. Appreciate you. And don't forget to check out Debate Crypto. I was on Around the Charts last night. Super fun show. But guys, let's go ahead and start off with a market watch. And don't forget to smash that like button. If you want Bitcoin to go back up, smash that like button. But let's go ahead and check out a little market watch here as that black and white plane flies around the globe. We've got Bitcoin coming in at $19,537, down about 2.5% on the day. We've got Ethereum coming in at $1330, down about almost 2.5% on the day. Let's go ahead and check our top movers. There we go. 1 inch up about 6.4% on the day. HBAR up about 4.8% on the day. We've got XEC up almost 5%. And then shout out to Brian Emery from MetaMoney, stepping up about almost 3% on the day. And then let's actually just real quick show our losers here, top losers. We've got RSR down 7%, Helium down 5.5%. Then we got EOS down 4.5%, and TWT down almost 4%. But guys, we have an awesome show for you tonight. So let's go ahead and jump right into our first topic, and that is this morning's job report. Now, obviously, we did see price react pretty negatively to this job report, watching Bitcoin lose 20K. Once again, it does seem that Bitcoin is just magnetized to this 20K level. We break it a little bit, we hop back above it, we break it again. It's just, it's just flirting with that level constantly. But finally, we did see it break this morning, and Ethereum also down about 1.2%. The only coins that are actually holding up pretty good, in the higher of the market caps is ADA and XRP. XRP actually getting a little bit of a pump. Here in the past few hours, we did see that on the Frankie Candles live stream last night. We saw that move potentially coming today. But I'm going to go ahead and throw it to our first question here over to Matty B. Now, with the markets reacting negatively to the market, to the jobs report, are you expecting a quick recovery, or do you think this is kind of the first step to potentially getting these lower lows that everybody's talking about? Or do you think this is just a small dip and we're going to see a bounce to, I know a lot of people are looking for some more bullish action. Do you think that we're going to get a quick and strong bounce out of this little dip?
Good question. Thanks for having me, Frankie. The thing is, it's like, I think I heard you guys talking about it earlier. I've been going on ad nauseum about that 78.6 fib level. And of course, we had the majestic M pattern or double top that broke today. And so we're coming down to this 19.2. And I mean, we live in a weird time now, because when I was little, quick story, a child of the 80s, we got spankings, right? So if I did something bad, my dad's hand would go up like something bad's going to happen. But right now, Jerry Pow Pow is our dad. And when something good happens, the hand goes up. The job reports it's a good jobs report. Hand goes up. So it's like, I don't know how to read it anymore, because anything good is actually bad now. So I expect it to go back up to where it broke. Where did it break at? 20K cliff. Maybe go back up there. But if we don't get above 20K again, I think we might spend the next little while here slowly going down and maybe hitting that, make those lower lows on Forchies.
All right. I love it. I do want to throw it over to Stash now. You guys know historically, I'm sure you've heard of the meme, Uptober. Usually October is a pretty positive month for the markets. Now, Stash, do you think that this Uptober meme is going to hold, or do you think in this cycle we're going to see this kind of break due to the, the economic situation of the world right now? I know not only, economies, we have other worldly factors at play that I'm not going to get into. Do you think this is going to kind of break the whole Uptober meme?
I think what we're going to do here is we're going to rename Uptober or Pumptober to Rectober. I do not see anything positive happening this month. I think that in general, with the overall global economy and everything kind of looming, man, there's been it's kind of like a kind of a hurricane status, You're waiting, you're sitting there, and everything's swirling around, and we're kind of hovering in this like eye of the storm. And we've been kind of like moving with the eye a little bit, like, all right, if we just stay in this little pocket, guys, nothing around us is going to screw us. But I'm telling you, man, that we're going to breach that, and it's going to come crashing down on us here. I don't know if it's going to be soon here, like within the next 12 months. But I mean, we're seeing a lot of elements that are playing globally into this gigantic hurricane financial shitstorm. So yeah, I mean, I think we're going with Rectober.
Gotcha. Yeah, not as fun, Rectober, not as fun as Uptober, but hey, if you subscribe to the Frankie Candles YouTube channel, you will know that you can make money on the way down. Now, we did have Jeffrey Roach, the chief economist at LPL Financial, told CNBC this puts the nail in the coffin for another 75 basis point hike. Now, I want to throw it over to you, Keeper. Being that the jobs report came out, with more strength than the Fed would have liked to see, what do you think the likelihood is that, they ease up on raising rates?
Well, thanks for having me on, as always. I apologize to everybody if I'm driving. Hopefully it's not too loud. You can hear me okay, Frankie? Everything's good, yeah?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. All right, cool. Just want to make sure. You're asking what the likelihood of them easing up. Well, they're getting a lot of pressure from the United States is getting a lot of pressure from the UN, which I'm sure a lot of you are aware of that, to ease up on the rates. The dollar, the Dixie, is up so much. The dollar's so strong right now that it is literally crushing basically monies owed across the world. And so they're asking for us to ease up. The issue is, I think if we're really smart about, what we're doing here, I've talked about this before, crushing our economy is going to be the only way to save it at this point, because the reality is we have created this, as Stash says, shitstorm, and our, the inflation is so out of control. And with the way that our economy is set up anymore, the only way to, combat that is to raise interest rates. And so I think that we're going to continue to raise them. I think that if we don't, we're just going to be kicking the can down the road yet again, and we're going to extend the problems that we currently have. And I don't know that we can afford to extend them, because all of the other macro events that are going on in our world right now are all brewing towards something big happening. I think if we can at least get ourselves back to some sort of financial, stability a little bit more than we are right now, the quicker we can get there, I think the better. So I think we're going to continue to raise rates. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a pump, because maybe we'll only do a 50 basis points hike or something smaller than what's expected. But the reality is the market loves stability, and this instability and the question marks are what the market doesn't like. So I guess we'll see if we, continue to press forward or stay stable or not.
Yeah, kick the can down the road. I would have to agree. And, like Mr. Roach said, very, puts that nail in the coffin for a potential another 75 basis point hike. Now, AJ, I want to throw it over to you. Now, while there is plenty of bearish news out there on the horizon, is there any hopium that you're looking at, or are you expecting lower lows?
Well, you always want to remain optimistic. You want to be bullish. You want the price to go to $1 million. But sometimes, that's not always what it gets, especially when the macro looks like this. Like, with the jobs report coming out today, we fell down right away. And these are the kind of alerts that like you want to have in your calendar, have like set alerts on your phone, knowing when this stuff is happening, like the Fed reports, the jobs, the CPI. You want to know when this is happening so you can look to trade this kind of stuff. This is the kind of news where you can make money if you have an idea on what direction it's going, and or have a tight stop loss so you don't get wrecked if you make the wrong decision. The 2-day RSI is like staying below the 50 for Bitcoin, and that's kind of shows a bearish continuation. It would really hurt to see us fall below that June floor. That is kind of like the metric for me. Like all bets are off if we go below that. That would be terrible. And the CPI numbers are coming out next Thursday, and that's another trading point that I'm going to be looking at for probably more bearish downward price action. So you never know.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we do have those CPI data coming out next week. So definitely, if you're looking for that volatility, like, we typically do, sometimes it depends. Sometimes it's easier to try to predict where, which direction that news is going to take you. But it does create that volatility, which can make for some spicy, or as I like to say, saucy trades. But moving on to our second topic here, guys, the Binance hack that everyone's talking about. BNB's chain bridge fell victim to a reported $566 million hack. So essentially what happened is the hacker, basically tricked the BSC token hub bridge into sending them I think 2 million BNB, worth about $566 million. Pretty insane. Now, it is interesting. Like I said, I did find this out on my live stream while I was live. Someone said, "Oh my God, Binance hack." And I was like, oh God, I'm getting trolled. Everybody always puts that in the chat. And then you check the chart and nothing happens. But I pulled up that chart, saw the red candles, and I was like, oh no, this could get brutal. But it actually held up pretty decently, which I was, surprised at. But very interesting. Usually with these hacks and stuff, you see a massive move to the downside. But I think we were down just about 5%, which is actually not bad considering. But Stash, I want to throw it right to you. Now, do you think if you guys don't know, they did halt activity. Now, do you think the ability to halt activity and even reverse transactions, do you think this is something that we're going to see more of in crypto?
Are we going to see more of it? I mean, probably. I don't necessarily like it.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it. I don't necessarily support it per se, but I can see where it has its value in the long term, when it comes to blockchain technology. But what it really comes down to too is that, having some consensus to do so, right? Having the community's consent to do so, I think, is also a big thing. So, a lot of people are like, oh, BNB is centralized because look, they were able to halt the chain and do this stuff. And like, they haven't frozen anybody's funds yet. They are going to put that to a community vote if they're going to be doing something like that. But, being able to reach out to the very small pool of validators and say, hey, 26 dudes who are validating this shit, could you guys please, put a stop on your nodes here? That'd help us out a lot. I mean, I think that makes sense to be able to have structures that do that. 26 is still pretty low. I mean, if you could get into the hundreds, and then you could still have a really great way to communicate with these nodes and, be able to maybe orchestrate something like that in a catastrophe type of situation like this, then I think that there is some benefit there. Does that mean that, decentralization is dead? No, not necessarily. But I think that there are advantages to doing that. Now, it's not going to work for everything and for every platform and for every use case, right? In particular, Bitcoin, we wouldn't want that to happen, right? Because of the properties and what it really means. The fact that it has these immutable properties are incredibly important, and one of its mainstays, and one of the things I've always loved the most about a decentralized currency like Bitcoin is that immutability. That this information is never going to stop, and then the chain is not going down, right? And then what I will say is that right now, BNB still has maintained that immutability. If the chain goes down, they haven't necessarily changed anything about the actual transactions that have happened that they are going to put to a community vote. So we'll see which way that goes. And if the community has consensus together to say, yes, we will roll back this, or we will, at least freeze these funds. Nothing, they haven't gone back and changed the data that has already been put there.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something to take in consideration here, and BNB. And I've been a big fan of BNB and Binance for a long time. And I think in general, They're as transparent as we've seen from any, blockchain that has a centralized kind of, head, we'll say, right? Someone who we know has created it. And, they've also, they've taken ownership of the problems they've had here now and in the past since the beginning. So at least we know that that's going to happen versus something shady as all hell, like what we saw with Terra, where it's just like, all right, guys, peace, I'm on the run. Good luck catching me. Just kidding. I was at my house the whole time, suckers.
Yeah, absolutely. Big fan of Binance and BNB as well. And like you said, at least it's not like something shady is going on, like with Celsius, which we're actually going to talk about for our next topic. We have some, interesting information there. Obviously, they did dox.
God, can we not do that one?
Yeah, I know, right?
And the more you read into it, the crazier it gets.
It just gets worse, man. But
absolutely. Absolutely. But Keeper, I want to throw it to you. Now, with cross-chain bridges have shown to be a risk for these large hacks. We did have the Ronin bridge hack in March, and I think that was to a similar tune of about like $650 million. In your opinion, should we expect to see more of a focus on security for developers in the future from these incidences?
Well, I mean, I think inevitably we're going to see it. I think it's a learning curve, right? There's a lot of people that in the space that are trying to either they've been in the space long enough to be able to create this technology and they know every in and out, or it's newer people coming to the space and really trying to get their foot in the door. And so I think the security is obviously important. I think what's more interesting with this for me, just because I don't have the technical know-how on the on that side of things, I think what was more interesting to me, if I can, Frankie, is that on the back end of this, it's almost like they didn't have it's one of two things. One, they didn't have a good game plan put together because they weren't able to, they needed to think about on the front end, how am I actually going to execute? How am I actually going to be able to pull funds? The reality is this is on the blockchain. It is going to be verifiable. It looked like they put it through what was it, Venus protocol, I think. I was talking to Crypto Blood before the show about that, and I asked him, like, why would they put it in stable coins? It even said in one of the articles, like, the stable coin issues are known for freezing funds. Why would that? Mm-hmm. And let me throw out a fun little Keeper special here. What if this was some sort of an inside job? What if you had a couple people that noticed the vulnerability, little white collar?
Oh, and we lost him.
We lost him.
It was just getting good there.
It was just starting to get. It was. Someone did not want us to get that Keeper special.
This. No, he planned that, man. He was like, "All right, guys, here's my theory. What if it was this?"
Yep. Come on over to my channel to find out.
Yeah,
exactly. But thank you for that, Keeper. I'll give you a couple points for that little tease. But AJ, I want to throw it over to you, man. And, obviously I just spoke about, as we brought up the topic, seeing BNB just kind of holding up decently for, getting some news like this. Now, did you expect to see a bigger, when you heard this news, did you expect to see a bigger price drop? And do you think it'll recover quickly, or do you think this is going to kind of have some real long-term damage, for BNB or just Binance in general, I guess?
Yeah. So when I first saw the story broke, I was like, oh man, like, this could be bad news bears for Binance because they're like a top coin, like they're really trusted. A lot of people use their platform. I was like, oh, this is terrible. But then I learned that the hack wasn't on exactly the Binance chain. It was the cross-chain bridge BSC. So that is why Binance was like relatively unaffected. I mean, only like 3 or 5% or something like that. So to see them only fall that much kind of says a lot about how strong their community actually is. It actually shows that, like, they have a lot of people that believe in them. And then also, I think that they're definitely going to recover quickly from it because it kind of, with the governance votes, they're putting out additional governance votes that will like give someone 10% of the funds recovered if they figure out like who the hacker was. And they're doing another governance vote where you will get $1 million if you can discover another bug in the protocol, which is pretty cool. And like, if I was a hacker, I would reverse engineer it and then discover myself. But I don't know.
Yeah, get the good guys in there, the good hackers in there. Give them a little kickback to figure it out. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool job, right? I'm a hacker, but I'm a good hacker.
Yeah.
But Matty, I want I want to throw it over to you, Matty. Now, do you think that people will continue to trust Binance after this breach, or will another competitor to the Binance chain kind of see the blood in the water and kind of rise from all of this destruction?
Well, it's weird because every time this happens, I gotta shake my head because it's like these cross chains are like the stage coaches of the Wild West. They like have a massive target on them. Anytime they're going over the prairies, they just get ransacked all the time. It's like, what was the number? Something like 70% of all crypto theft is these cross chains. So it kind of blows my mind that people are so willing to be that vulnerable. And I mean, I always say I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, I'm a human minimalist. And it seems that every time we kind of get off what we all kind of came and loved about Bitcoin and we move into a gray area. I know this is a learning curve and we're very early, and this just goes to show how early we really are. But I mean, everything's dicey once you move away from it. I'm not saying that these things are bad, but it's just dicey from here on in until the learning curve gets a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. You gotta be careful as BJ pulls up the I don't even know what that was.
I was memeing that we lost him.
Okay. Well, we already lost Keeper. We can't lose Matty B. But guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and move over to our next topic. This is one that I'm really excited about, and it's the Celsius. Celsius doxing its customers. Obviously, a lot of personal information was leaked from all the Celsius customers, but this was including some information about some high-level people over at Celsius, and it did leak some very, very interesting information about some high-level executives, maybe removing some money, taking some money out before something very, very catastrophic were to happen, which is, I like AJ's little chin rub. Very, very interesting, right? Like we were saying, Binance didn't seem like something too shady was going on, but definitely some shady stuff happening on over here with Celsius. But with that being said, I do want to go ahead and I'm going to start off with Matty B this time. We're going to switch it up here. Now, Matty, do you think this breach of privacy will lead to civil litigation, or are Celsius customers just going to kind of be left? I know, a lot of people got stuck with losing their money. It wasn't much they could do about it. Do you think they're going to get stuck, or do you think there's going to be some civil litigation going on?
Well, I mean, it seems like when it just can't get any worse, it just gets exponentially worse. And I've been watching this thing from afar because I remember when, like maybe 2 weeks before it unraveled, I saw Mashinsky on a bunch of YouTube, like big YouTube channels, basically trying to calm the waters and saying everything's fine. I have all my money on this, and don't worry about it. Nothing's going to happen. And of course, like these are respected YouTube guys who trusted Alex, right? So it's like he basically fooled everyone. And it just goes to show, back to the Bitcoin and the trust list. As soon as you have to trust humans, it gets pretty dicey and gray. And I mean, what are you going to do? Are you ever going to trust? But here's the thing. Humans are trustful little so-and-sos, right? So when we're told this is how it is, and I promise you, this is how it's going to be, our privacy will not be breached. And we just go, okay, yeah, I buy that. I accept that, and I'll go wholeheartedly into it. And of course, you get screwed in the end. And I don't know. It's dicey. You move off Bitcoin, you get a little bit dicey.
That's right. Bitcoin, somewhat more trustworthy than some humans. I would agree with you there for sure. That's a great answer. I appreciate that one. Stash, I'm going to throw it over to you now. The court filing, here's where it gets juicy, guys. The court filing also showed high-level executives withdrawing millions prior to freezing accounts. It's like, we're taking our money out, but we're not going to let you take it out. But should they have to return this money? And if they do or don't have to return it, do you think they really broke any laws, in doing so, kind of pulling it out while freezing right before they freeze those accounts?
Man, that is a damn good question. So here's what I think. First, obviously, these dudes knew there was something coming. They knew how over leveraged they were. They knew they had exposure to terror. As soon as that shit started going down, they knew that something was going to happen to Celsius. There's no other reason, excuse to why they would have done this all kind of around the same time, right? So that's number one. Number two, this information that got leaked is a huge vulnerability. I mean, when you talk about everyone, I'm probably on that list, man. I use Celsius and I recommended it. This is a product that I tested out over years, guys, from the very beginning, and was like slowly testing things out, slowly putting a little bit in there. And I'm like, this is, this actually is a product that I could see. It was literally the only centralized product that I ever used. And I had Mashinsky on my channel multiple times. I was on his stuff. I did research about him. Everything seemed to kind of stack up, man. I mean, in general, was he a little bit kind of slimy of a dude anyways? Yeah, but that didn't, his track record still was good. And so when you look at like this happening, hey, they should have been, it should have just been their information that was, put out for everyone to see, because that, I think, was the first thing that they should have had, is that the court should have had all the information on every employee, because that is how you start to scrutinize. And then what I think should happen is, yes, I think they should take all the money that they pulled out of the platform before this happened. They should put it all back into the pool, and then they get paid out in the last order after everybody else gets paid out. So if they're going to get any money back from this, they have to wait till the end and be at the end of the damn line. Go to the back of the line, Mashinsky. Go to the back of the line, the rest of his wife and everybody else, and wait till the actual people who were supporting the platform that did nothing wrong, pay them out first, and let those guys get whatever pennies and scraps are left. And that's what. And if they get anything, then they should be lucky.
I could not agree with that anymore. Get to the back of the line and give us the money right out of your pockets, because there's just no coincidence. There's no way that's a coincidence. And also, if you're going to dox your users, you might want to try to not dox yourself. So I couldn't agree more.
I don't think they did it. I don't think that they did it. I think that it must have been documents that got leaked somehow from the court proceedings. I don't know, man, but that sucks. It sucks,
Yeah, I could not agree more. Luckily, I did not have any funds on Celsius, but I know almost everybody I know that's in crypto got hit pretty hard from that. But AJ, I want to throw it over to you now. Even after all that's taken place with Celsius platforms like Nexo, or even after all this has happened with Celsius, obviously everybody lost their money. We still have platforms like Nexo, BlockFi, Aave still offering the same types of services, lending, staking, this kind of stuff. Some of them having some pretty crazy returns, depending on which ones you're looking at. Do you think history is bound to repeat itself, or do you think people have kind of seen what happened to Celsius and they kind of learned their lesson?
Before I get into this, Matty B, did Bigfoot just walk behind your window?
I don't know. It's fall in Canada, so there's a lot of weird things going on. Deers, moose.
I clearly just saw Bigfoot
Yetis
walk by your window.
Could be. I've never seen him. I'm still.
Can you give all my points to Matty B because Bigfoot? Please and thank you. Okay.
A couple extra points for Bigfoot.
Yeah, all the points for Bigfoot. I just wanted to clear that up. Anyway,
nice.
So lending, borrowing platforms. Honestly, I'm cool with like staking on Algorand or Cardano or stuff like that. But with the lending platforms, it always kind of seems like it's too good to be true. Like I had a family member message me once that was like, hey, like, look at this like Tether staking platform, like blah, blah, blah. And I looked into it and it was like Vald or something like that. It was one of the ones that fell earlier in the year. And I looked at it and I was just like, yeah, man, like this seems a little too good to be true. And like, I don't know if history often repeats itself, but we always say in crypto that it often rhymes. So I'm not really much on that stuff. And honestly, if it goes away or doesn't, I'm not in it anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that answer. I kind of attack it the same way. I know we had Wonderland. We had a bunch of stuff, especially in the bull run. They were popping up left and right. 100,000% APY, 600,000%. I kind of always took the too good to be true route as well. And it did help me steer clear of some pretty harmful stuff. So love that answer. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, Keeper was not able to get back in there. But Matty B, we do have a winner here. So congratulations to you. And we'll give you the floor. You got, I don't know, what is it, BJ? 30 seconds or a minute to tell people what they need to hear.
Are you asking me on prom night or how much time he has?
Well, hopefully we can see Bigfoot walk by his window as he has his little victory speech here.
I saw it.
I wanted to close with a song that Frankie and I wrote a couple of years back in the Adirondacks one summer night by the campfire. And it kind of goes with today's theme. Not your keys, not your coin. All your dreams get destroyed. They disappear into the void. You don't have what you don't hold. No possession, no control. Not in your hands, then you don't own. You look away and then they're gone. Not your keys, not your phone. Around the Blockchain was filmed before live studio audience. Roll credits, Frankie.
Very nice.
Beautifully put. Beautifully
I
put.
love it. I love it. I was hoping that was going to be the victory speech right there. Thank you so much, Matty B. Congratulations on your victory. Guys, go follow our guests. The links are in the description down below. They all make really, really good content. And oh, wait, what's this note here on the script? That's all for us. But Frankie Candles is live right now on ATB. But guys, you got to give me a minute to run to the studio. Going live at 6:15 p.m. We're going to go ahead and do 2 full hours of TA. So if you guys want to watch me do some TA on this aftermath and maybe pull up some trade ideas for you guys to take a look at, go ahead and follow me over to the Frankie Candles live stream on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. And with all that being said, again, smash that like button on your way out. Follow all our guests. That's all the time we got for tonight. I'll see you guys next time. Frankie Candles out.